And we begin our second half hour with both law enforcement and utility providers on high alert as our temperatures warm up. Their concern? Sabotage to the power grid.
Those worries are not unfounded after a string of cyber and physical attacks to substations over the past year. Team 12's Joe Dana explains the threat and what utilities recently told Arizona regulators.
A massive power outage on a 110-degree day in the middle of summer would no doubt be chaotic. Representatives of Arizona's two largest power suppliers, SRP and APS, recently answered questions to the Arizona Corporation Commission about summer preparedness and grid resiliency. Both utilities told commissioners they've hardened electrical systems, conducted preventative maintenance, and stocked up on equipment and parts needed during emergencies. The utilities also vowed that energy supplies are sufficient to meet demand during extreme heat days and peak hours. But heat waves and a natural disaster aren't the only concern. Foreign and domestic attacks on power substations across the country are up. Last year, two suspects, who the FBI labels as white supremacists, shot up substations in North Carolina, cutting off power to tens of thousands of customers.
They had extremist views, and in order to further those views, they hoped that conducting this violent act was going to bring light to that.
There was a string of attacks involving substations in Oregon and Washington, prompting the FBI to issue a warning earlier this year about neo-Nazi plots against the grid. Cyber attacks also a concern. A regional power expert told the Corporation Commission there were 5 cyber attacks last year that were fortunately thwarted.
The threat actors getting more and more sophisticated. There's been a really hyper focus on cybersecurity.
As recently as October, the U.S. Government Accountability Office warned grid distribution systems have grown more vulnerable, in part because their operational technology increasingly allows remote access. Protecting the grid involves a host of stakeholders and agencies. APS and SRP told the Commission they are employing third-party audits, emergency drills, and phishing campaigns to constantly test their security systems. So how do homeowners prepare for a possible attack? The same way you would for any emergency. Experts say have water, a generator, first aid supplies, and enough food to last at least a week. And remember, if the grid were to go down, so would ATMs. If you are able to have some cash on hand, it is recommended. Joe Dana, 12 News.